Welcome to the Midlife Pilot Podcast. We are glad you're with us. What is it like to become a pilot in your 40s and 50s? The challenges are unique for those of us in midlife, but so are the rewards. Hosts Ben, Brian, and Ted talk learning to fly, growing as pilots, and the joy of flying to destinations. The purpose of the podcast is not to teach, but to share knowledge and experiences of being a midlife pilot. Join the Midlife Pilot community and listen in every week. We are not CFIs or particularly intelligent, so if you want to learn how to fly, talk to anyone else other than the hosts of a podcast. Even this intro was too challenging for us, and we used a robot to do it. Okay, checklists are complete. Let's get the show started.
Hello and welcome to the Midlife Pilot Podcast, where we share the experiences and challenges of flying in midlife. Whether you're a seasoned pilot training for a rating or just thinking about getting started in aviation, I like to think of the podcast as your aviation companion and your weekly dose of aviation inspiration. My name is Ben, and I am an IFR-rated pilot with a commercial cert who maybe one day might have a multi-engine rating. We'll see. That remains to be seen. When I'm not training for a multi, I do fly a Cessna 182. I like to call the Beast. Joining me tonight, as always, my friends, a private pilot in Nashville, which is home of the Bachelor at Super Charlie. He flies a Cherokee 180 named Lucy. It's our friend, Mr. Brian Siskin. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Hello, everybody in the chat, and hello, all you guys, and hello, Mark, and everybody. This is awesome. I'm excited about the topic tonight because I know that I'm going to learn something.
I think I'll be right there with you. Joining us from the left coast, based in Portlandia, flying the heck out of a flight-designed CTLS. We like to call it the Egg. It's our friend, Timestamp Tedder. Good evening.
Hey, glad to be here. Yeah.
Glad to have you with us. And then joining us. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ted.
I like that Brian joined us on the high wing side this week. So
yeah,
hear about that in a minute.
Yeah. And it balances out because I've been on the low wing side the last couple of weeks. So joining us tonight for another round, it's our friend One Dull Geek. He's our favorite person who should be a CFI. He could be a lawyer, mechanic. You know, he's our expert in all manners without officially being an expert in all those manners. It's our friend One Dull Geek. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay, but I take a little bit of umbrage with the lawyer comment.
It's what the world needs, one more lawyer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, can you, do you have a particular case you want to make or argument about why?
Why did I feel I was walking right into that?
He'll be making a case for some other things later on in the podcast, I got a feeling. So that's, I think, where that's stemming from. Yeah, it's been a little bit since we've caught up. Happy Labor Day, everybody. I want to catch up, see what you guys been up to. Mr. Siskin, I believe you are now, you have been reviewed and have been deemed acceptable. Is that an accurate statement?
I passed my non-pass fail flight review. So
every win we can get.
It's not a pass fail, but I'm calling it a win. Yeah. So what's been happening on my side is Lucy has had some things going on where, I think all of you guys and anyone else out there that's an owner can probably relate to this, but there's deferred maintenance and there's things that kind of build up on your squawk list, and then there's the things that you really need to do that are regulatory or safety of flight. And it is sort of an art form unto itself to try and keep up with all of those things and rank order them. And then how do you relate that to budget and timing and trips and tensions and all of that? And we always want to fly in the best weather, and this time of year is coming up on some of the best weather, but made the hard decision to just pull Lucy down for a minute. There was just too many little things, and I think that what you find is when you're trying to get this done kind of quickly before somebody wants to take a trip, or you find yourself in a place where things are not getting done as maybe comprehensively as you would like. And so you kind of sometimes have to step back as an owner and do things you don't really want to do. The plane could be made airworthy very quickly, I think, on just a couple of basic things. But when you see that list starting to mount and things kind of getting a little, I don't know, just not being seen through exactly, because not for anybody's fault, but just schedules and how there's a way you approach things from a comprehensive standpoint versus maybe some band-aids. And so made the hard decision to just go, look, we're taking the plane down and we're going to go through, we've got a lot of small things. And these squawks can be very small, as you know, they can be, a piece of interior is tearing and starting to sag, or we had a headset jack in the back that was just going wonky, and things that, I mean, we never really have I never have 3 passengers with me in the plane. Very rare. So the idea that the 4th headset jack in the position that no one really ever sits in, it's not that big of a deal, but there just gets to be a point where it's like those things start to add up and you start to realize that you might need that extra jack for some unknown reason, or whatever it is, all these various things. So we're taking it down for some brake work and new battery and some other stuff. So, and then just a whole host of small squawks. So,
and I'm sorry to interrupt, but you could take the plane down 8 times during the year to take care of all that. Or you could just pull it down one time and just be done with it all.
Yeah,
I totally get what you're doing.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think about it because we're about 6 months out from our annual. And I just thought, wow, maybe that's actually a good time, sort of an opposing annual in a way where you get this pile of stuff and you do the things that you don't. There's a lot of those kinds of things that you don't really do during an annual because you're just so focused on the heavy hitting stuff. And if you're getting stacked up with bills or things, it's easy to figure out what's to be deferred.
Right.
So maybe there's a nice place for a deferred maintenance block time,
Should we call that the semi-annual?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I think that there's kind of some pride in ownership too, where you can say you only have 1 passenger in the back and that's normal. But at some point saying, no, you got to use the jack on the other side it's the equivalent of, just jiggle the handle.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, at some point, that's what it's about
that's right.
This is not airworthiness, but this is pride of ownership. And,
yes.
If you are lax on those things, or you lax on other things, or is somebody going to think you're lax on other things?
That's right. And those things do add up. We had a problem with the PTT button on the pilot side, and there's just a bunch of things. And as we all know, those Swiss cheese things can add up in very small ways, Yep. So anyway, good to get all that done. But what that left me with was, I've got to get my BFR flight review, whatever they call it now. What do they call it now?
Yeah.
Just flight review.
I don't care.
Just flight review.
Yeah. Flight review. So I needed to get that done. And, I had to bite the bullet, guys. Everybody get your drinks ready. You ready? I did a tailwheel flight review. All right. Cheers.
Enjoy editing that. Yeah.
I'm going to add in some fizz.
But that's awesome, though. I mean, when was the last time you've been in the tailwheel?
It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was great. I have a lot to say about it. But I guess I'll try to keep it condensed. Really fun with our friend Ben, Tailwheel Ben, CFII and Tailwheel instructor. Drift Aviation is the name of his business now, out at Gallatin, Music City Executive Airport. Cessna 140. And it was just, it was so great to fly tailwheel and to do all those things. But I'll tell you what was really interesting was I had not been in a plane. I was going to ask you about this, Ben. I have not been in a plane that was other than my own flying, for a long time. And boy, did that kind of throw me off, because I just hadn't had to look to see. I didn't have everything be in a different place. I haven't had that in a long time, and it was throwing me off. What about you with the multi?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Not only just trying to, hey, you need to turn the aux pumps off. Okay, where are they? I mean, it really felt that fundamental, at least for the first one or two times. The third flight, I started kind of figuring out where everything is. But to your point, when I get back in mine, I kind of settle back in. And then when I go back to the multi, then it kind of, again, it's, time will fix that. But I totally get with what you're saying. It's like, I don't even know how to taxi, and I'm trying to figure out where the master avionics switch is. And it does come at you.
So I was, and for me too, in the 140, he's got a 430 in there that's on the left side. So even just trying to tune radio frequencies with my left hand over on the left side was just, oh, okay, hold on a second. It was just those kind of goofy things. But anyway, the real story though is we had a heck of a lot of fun. Always learned some new things in that environment and that situation. Did some landing in the grass. Did some taking off in the grass. Did some all kind of things. But the coolest thing was flying the pattern, not using the yoke or just trim, power, and rudder.
Oh, nice.
And here's the thing though, it wasn't coming from a standpoint of you have jammed controls, which has been sort of a thing lately, of course. It wasn't really about jammed controls and what will you do. It was actually just, I found myself over controlling the plane, and that was the remedy to stop controlling the plane. It was basically, I'm not allowed to control it. But it was so effective. I was curious about the reasons as to why I was over controlling it. I was fascinated to see how many Cherokee things I was carrying over and just, I was not decoding. And so when you're flying a high wing versus a low wing Hershey bar airplane, I'm used to sort of muscling things, I think, a little bit more. It's kind of it's a little bit of a heavier plane. It's not nearly as twitchy as a 140. So that was the thing. I was over controlling.
Yeah.
Also, managing my speeds and all that. So basically, by the time we were about halfway through this lesson, I was doing, I don't think I saw he covered up the airspeed indicator probably about 20 minutes into all this, and I didn't see it again. I mean, it was still on, after we turned the plane off. So I was flying around with no way to see airspeed. I wasn't allowed to use the yoke. And the more things that were taken away from me, the better I was doing.
Did he put a blindfold on you? I mean,
well, he eventually said, just get out. I said, well, we're on final, but, so anyway, it was just, it was a really interesting thing to see how much trouble I had adapting to just any other airplane, and then having that much, over controlling going on, and then judging. I just realized how much I have it easy in a Hershey bar Cherokee, because you can just, there was one point where we did an engine out, and I actually just spaced even slipping. I was just like looking, I was like, why is this plane coming down? I got 40 degrees of flaps in. Like, why isn't this thing, I got no power in. Like, why isn't this thing coming down? Right. Right. Forward to slip. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Because the Cherokee just doesn't ever need it. So anyway, all that to be said, it was just a heck of a time. I really appreciated the instruction and the conversation and the just the experience, and it makes me really value the non-pass fail aspect of the flight review, because it really allows you to explore more things than maybe you would feel comfortable otherwise. And I think it's a neat thing that people kind of take for granted, or look at it as something to kind of skate through, or just as a reason to go get lunch with the CFI. And so that's my second BFR now. And, my first one was, hell on wheels with impossible turns and engine outs from every place in the pattern and just all these, kind of chaotic, fun, but challenging things that I would never do on my own. And that's what I would leave to say to everybody else, is just to find ways to make your flight review challenging and make it worth your while. So anyway, it was a great experience. I'm so glad I did. It was awesome to fly tailwheel again. Awesome to fly the 140. And last note is, thank you. I don't know why I hadn't been aware of Skywatch.
Yes, skywatch.ai.
So, one of the challenges I've had as an owner is my insurance policy does not really allow me to go fly other planes, or doesn't meet the policy requirements of other things. And so to be able to just quickly and easily get a 1-day policy was really cool. We're not sponsored by them, but we will allow them to give us free things if they want. But anyway, that was just a really cool thing. So now I feel I'll probably keep up a little bit more with that and keep pursuant to tailwheel more, because it's just a little bit easier now.
That's awesome.
Actually, my flight review is due at the end of October. And instead of doing it in a tailwheel, I decided to do it in the multi. To your point, I feel like my brain goes into like a defensive mode. Like there's all this information that's trying to rush in and it wants to meter it. And, it definitely gets you out of your comfort zone. So the flaps don't have a limiter switch, so you have to count them down while you're doing 4 other things. The other thing that I've found that surprised me is that the throttles, so I'm used to a veneer throttle. I can be very precise with how much throttle I put in and out. This, you have to be precise, but there's just, you've got to be authoritative with it, but you also can't make big adjustments on it either. So it's just getting, I hate to say it, to simplify it this way, but it's just got to get a feel for it.
Yeah.
The last lesson, I completely screwed up the single engine. He just failed an engine without telling me about it. And I kept the plane straight, but my brain froze up. So he's like, which engine's dead? I said, dead foot, left foot. He goes, no, that's your active foot. It's your right. I couldn't tell my left from my right.
Yeah.
But I did the functions that I needed to do to keep the plane in straight level flight. I just couldn't iterate or verbalize what I was doing. That's how much of a helmet fire I was in.
I'll put a link in the show notes, but I can't think of dead engine like that without thinking of the 737, where they misidentified the engine and flew the plane into the ocean in Hawaii. You confidently shut off power to the good engine.
In my brain at that moment, I thought dead foot means, so you've got one foot all the way in. And I don't know why, I just felt like that rudder is dead, or that rudder pedal is dead because you haven't pushed in, when actually it's the other one, just the dead foot that you're not doing anything with. It's just hanging there. It's not actively doing anything. So anyway, and then the lesson before, we started to work on some landings, and again, it's a low wing, and I get why you low wingers like pattern work, because you can actually see the runway when you're on base. I do kind of, I get it. I'm not going to say I'm going to join you, but I do get it. I would flare, and you can't flare in these airplanes. Not like you do in a Cessna. As a matter of fact, I had a different instructor. She's awesome. And she's like, I could tell that was going to be a Cessna landing because you flared, 15, 20 feet above the ground. And so she said, keep the nose pointing at the ground. You basically just want to level out. And then right before you touch, you pull up a little bit. Well, I get with my original instructor and I pointed that thing straight to the ground. And he's like, whoa, that's a little too far now. So he had to take controls. It was not pretty. So
how many times did you fly this week?
I flew twice last week, and I got 3 scheduled this coming week. So the steep turns are getting a lot better. I've said it a million times. Repetition is the mother of all learning, and that's proving to be true. So, it's been fun. Again, I can handle the flaps now. My pattern work has gotten a lot better. But as my subtitle here says, I am chair flying. I was given a great document, everything about the Duchess, what your throttle settings need to be in downwind base, all the things you need to do. And and then with my trip coming up, I'll have to be doing that again. So it's been good. I just would like to really get it wrapped up by the end of the month. We'll see how that goes. Ted, you posted a video. Again, it's go to on YouTube, go to Fly Sport. I mean, it's just artwork with a camera. I mean, with a video camera. It just was amazing. That going.
Is this the burger one?
Yeah.
It's it was so northwestern of you, Ted, because there's a lot of videos of pilots going to get hamburgers on the internet. But of course, yours is in this ungodly, beautiful setting, but burger and coffee.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought you were going to say because the name of the burger place was Twin Peaks.
Well, that was the other piece. Yeah. I haven't gotten to that.
Yeah.
But it was just, of course, it's like $100 burger and a mocha.
Yeah.
But we don't get a lot of videos from you with later in the evening. Still that's not nighttime, obviously, but it was really amazing.
I've been doing a little bit more flying toward the evening, and I've been trying to go out during the week and get a flight in, and knowing what my limit is and getting a little closer to it. Yesterday, I wanted to get a little closer to it, and so I went and landed at a different airport, and then it came over to mine, and it's fun. It's fun to see these almost night flights, but I wasn't planning on posting the video from that one. I only had 2 cameras running, but it was just so beautiful. And then I had to color correct it because 2 cameras facing opposite directions in sunset looked terrible. And it's wrong in one point. When I'm on final, it goes from being dark to very bright, but I was like, it's close enough.
I've experienced that as well. Yeah. Where it doesn't look right. So, but whatever. But yeah, it was beautiful, man. It was. I don't know how. I mean, don't you want to come over here and fly around? There's some grass and there's some hills and stuff. There's some trees. Sometimes you'll see really beautiful arrays of power lines that are in some sort of a kind of a constellation of infrastructure chaos that forms some sort of beauty. Aren't you interested in that, or do you just want to stay out there where everything's just Windows XP desktop?
Mountains break your brain. For me, having the equivalent height in an antenna breaks my brain because I don't have that. Yeah. Which is
very good.
It's easier to see a mountain, put it that way.
Yeah.
Mark.
That is true. Yeah. Mr. Geek.
You posted a video today about
I did
flying through an IFR layer. Yeah.
Yeah. It was filmed on Saturday, and I was reviewing my flight as I do, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is a really cool view. I'm going to turn this into a video, and I'm not going to spend much effort on it. I'm just going to put it out there because I thought
one
cool.
view, with an exception that there's actually an insert, but it's basically one view, just one camera and good audio. And it's like, here it is. And that's what's so great. It's not 17 cameras and a drone and all that. It's just, here you go. Here's a video. Enjoy.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
I do miss the French horn music though. I mean, it just fits your personality, and
it also fits my name.
It does.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah. I wasn't going to, announce to the world what your name is, but it's Mark French Horn.
Yes.
So anyway, hey Brian, what about letting our audience know how they can connect with us?
Yeah, so we're gonna get our belly scrub here, but we are going. I'm slowly peeling this back so that I don't have to read this like the FedEx commercial guy. And I know that it's a spiel, but I just want to pause before I even go through this thing, just to say thank you everybody who's been supporting us on Patreon, because it is absolutely the only way that we could do this. There are costs associated to this, and you guys help us really take care of that. And so it's not just trivial when we mention this. And we take it very seriously about how do we give as much value as we can possibly give for the returning that energy, to people, because and so that's why we work pretty hard to make all this extra content and all these other things, because people deserve to have that coming back at them. So anyway, with all that to be said, okay, hold on, I get the tears out of my eyes. Hold on a second. Okay. All right, I'm good. Yeah. So we're grateful for you all making this the best pilot community that we know of, a positive space where we share everything from training experiences, share personal minimums, tackle ownership challenges, review flight plans, and best of all, make new aviation friends. By the way, love the go no go channel on Discord. Has been really good lately. There's been some excellent stuff in there for people to have a place to tell the tales of why they did a go or a no go based on what is so valuable for other people to learn about and listen to. So that has just been huge. But there's a lot of things on the Discord, but that's been one that's been especially good lately. You can join our Patreon community from $1 a month, or do a one-time annual Patreon, 25 cents per episode. So what that means, I guess, is we have on our website, you can support us on Patreon, but you can also do a one-time PayPal if you don't want to deal with Patreon. Either way, you're going to get exclusive content, including check ride debriefs, killing zone conversations, and more. 10% supports Freedom Aviation Network's anti-human trafficking efforts. And if you're not familiar with their mission, please go look it up and understand. freedomaviationnetwork.org is the place. They have a fundraiser coming up. And I think that I'm amazed to see. I was around when they were just kind of starting this project, and to see how much momentum and support they've gotten through time, more pilots joining, more people finding ways to help out. It's not just about, flying survivors of human trafficking and their advocates around to get out of situations, but it's often the only way that people can get out of a situation. So it's really important that they get the support. And sometimes that's just straight up money and an airline ticket, right? So sometimes it's that kind of support, but they need volunteers and help from all angles. Please tell them we sent you. freedomaviationnetwork.org. Ultimately, we can try to give you our email addresses and all these things, but look, just go to midlifepilotpodcast.com. That's where you can access the community. Send us feedback. We don't really get enough feedback. I don't know. I think it's because our Discord is so active, and we're so active in the Discord that kind of gets in front of that. A lot of times I tell people, like, that's amazing. Will you please just send that to us in a feedback? Because we don't necessarily want to read what you said on Discord and maybe a slightly more closed environment out in the more public sphere on the podcast. But anyway, send us feedback. You can send us a message through our website, midlifepilotpodcast.com. We have some merch. We have dad hats. We have koozies. We have buttons. We have fleeces. We have all kinds of stuff. The big seller the last week has been the big hit's been the 2 bounces and a skip shirt. So 3 log landings. Go get yours.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's I decided to make the whole thing longer. How about that, guys? But I just thought instead of just skipping through this thing and feeling like it's this obligatory thing, maybe we could just provide a little more meaningful context around why we're doing all these things. So thanks for everybody who's been supporting and chipping in.
I didn't know my stopwatch could go this high, for what it's worth.
Yeah. I'm going to figure out how to make it longer next week.
Yeah.
I mean, the things that we don't talk about during the episode are important, which is Freedom Aviation Network, our connection to them and the mission they do. The other thing is the merch that we have, and that, Brian, you spend time on creating. And we deliberately don't make money off of that. It's all kind of print on demand, so you get your color and you get your size and everything else. But there's some fun stuff in there. And now my shelf of t-shirts is completely full. It's been one of those summers. So.
I will send one of my 3 boys up there. They will help load for you because they've stolen all mine. They've got no more to steal.
Hey, I got the Mike Echo Oscar Whiskey shirt at Oshkosh. I was so excited to wear it. It's meow. And I got home and I realized the size was a children's size because, of course, what adult would wear a cat meow shirt? So I have the shirt that's like, 4 sizes too small. Like no adult would wear this. So yeah.
Are you saying it got mixed up with your double XXL Hello Kitty shirt?
Exactly. Look, I would have ordered a kid's XL if I knew it was a kid's size, but yeah.
That's awesome. Ted, why don't we let everybody know who our new Patreon supporters are?
Yeah. So this week we've got a couple of new people at the Landomatic level. We have Scuba Steve. I feel like SpongeBob SquarePants was slightly after my age, but I swear that name is from there. Again, I feel too old to know that.
No, I don't know that it is or not.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
I think it's from a Ben or Adam Sandler movie.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember which movie.
Hopefully somebody will tell us. And Scuba Steve, thank you for joining us. And at the Hershey Bar level, we have John M. So thank you both for joining us. I noted some of the accomplishments this week, and I kind of collected a few of them. First one is Mark, your son had his first solo. Mr. Young Pilot.
Yes, yeah. Gabriel, who is actually listening. I told him that we were going to potentially talk about him, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to join and listen to this." So, hello, Gabriel, and Emma. Hello, congratulations.
I think you said it in a private environment, so I don't care. I'll say it anyway. Which was, he's better at you. He's better than you at a lot of things, but you still are a more proficient pilot than he is. I would suggest stop flying with him now, because then he won't know. He'll always think that you are a better pilot than him. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, that seems like a good relationship advice.
Yes. We have Chris C. He's actually the other Chris C, since we have Chris C in New York. So Chris C in Michigan hit 200 hours, and he flew his wife to breakfast. In my mind, it's funny because they're both kind of at the same latitudes, and they're just Michigan to Western New York. It's like, it seems close to me. I know it isn't, but it's interesting. He flew across one of the Great Lakes and got breakfast, which was cool, or across the bay of it. Russ H got his tailwheel endorsement in a super decathlon, which is awesome.
Yeah.
There was some real talk on Discord about toe brakes and heel brakes and getting your brain around that. And we learned recently, 3 minutes ago in the live stream, Phoenix Sales got their tailwheel endorsement this weekend. So it's been a big time for tailwheel. And so happy about all
everybody
that.
can drink, right? It's not just me with the tailwheel problem.
Yeah. These two, Dom got his a few weeks ago. So yeah. We got some feedback.
Yeah. We got some reviews in, actually, and feedback. Brian, do you want to hit one of the feedbacks?
Yeah, we'll save one for the next.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So from our friend Mike Wood 123, not to be confused with Mike Wood 122, which we definitely can't have happen.
We've got 122 others at least.
Yeah. He says, "Wow, I am not alone. As a midlifer thinking about a PPL, I was shocked to come across this podcast and community. I didn't know what I am feeling is a thing. I just thought I was some crazy old dude thinking about trying to squeeze in a decade or two of an awesome hobby that nobody in my life would understand. I'm hooked and love the perspective of the show. All the questions that come up are just the way that I would ask them. Great job." So thank you for that. Mike Wood 123. 3. And yeah, it's definitely a thing. It's that, I don't know, it's just that special feeling of liquidating any kind of financial stability or children's inheritance. It's a special, warm, fuzzy feeling. No, but that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
We appreciate that.
You know, we all had, at least, I don't know if you did, Brian, but the rest of us had this like, wow, I'm not alone here. I've found my community, and Ben and I found it early on. Mark found it early on. And just knowing that there are others going through the same thing is yeah, it's great.
It's huge.
Very cool. We'll hit one more feedback and then we'll get to our main topic, which is kind of Mosaic adjacent. It's build or buy or build or steal or commandeer, whatever we need to do. But this feedback comes to us from Paul F. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say he flies an RV-7A because that's what's in his email. He says, I appreciate your discussion on the new Mosaic rules. One issue that I think you have not considered is how the insurance industry will react to these new rules. Just because the FAA says it's legal doesn't mean your insurance will cover you if you want to downgrade to just using a driver's license to fly. The new rules are wonderful, and I hope things really do get easier and cheaper to fly. But I know some older pilots that are required to get annual flight reviews and annual basic med physicals, not because the FAA requires them, but because it's the only way the insurance companies will write them a policy. I hope I am wrong. It doesn't take very long once you get into aviation to understand that either from an ownership perspective or even from a renter's perspective, the FAA says you can fly, but until the insurance company gives you their policy, then you shouldn't fly, I guess, is you want to be hanging out there. So yeah, the insurance industry does place, and as someone who is aspiring to fly corporate or something in a professional manner, they will not hire you because of the insurance companies won't cover you. So he does bring up a good point there. On
the other hand, there has been a bit of confusion around that, and generally the insurance companies are not the barrier to renting in the experience I've had. Age-wise is probably a different thing, but 100-hour private pilot, 100-hour sport pilot has not made a difference in my experience.
Right.
It's going to be interesting with Mosaic. All the caveats apply, but yeah, it's certainly another factor, right? And it's another way that you can divide pilots into less risky and more risky categories. And there's potential for this to be a more risky category if you think about, especially much older pilots who may have trouble getting a medical. So it's a fair point.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we brought our friend One Dull Geek on because he kind of has intimated, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's kind of said, I'm not sure if I want to build, or I think he wants to build, but does he want to buy? I guess the question to build or to buy was originated by you, Mark. And, I've always thought, if the beast happened to disappear one day and I had no longer had access to it, what would I do? So I feel like this is a really good topic, and especially for our audience. I mean, a lot of us are, once we get our ticket, private or whatever the case may be, we're investing either in a flying club or in a plane or in something in that matter. So we wanted to start, go around the table, and Mark, maybe you want to set it up where you're currently at. You know that you would like to do something different in the near future than fly your Warrior, correct?
Correct. So the build or buy discussion wasn't really much of a discussion until Mosaic came around. Because once Mosaic came around, now all of a sudden there are performant airplanes that you can get that you don't have to build, right? That there is an opportunity to get into an airplane that I can maintain myself. I can go out and get a license called the LSRI, I can't remember what the letters are, but light sport repairman with inspection authority or with inspection something or another. And now it allows me to basically treat the airplane like it's with an awful lot of the privileges that I get if I built it, but not having to build it. Right. So there's a bunch of airplanes that suddenly become a consideration now that Mosaic has passed. Does that sort of explain the what I was thinking?
Yeah, I mean, to contextualize it, we've got people in our crowd that have built their own plane, which is great because now you can inspect your own plane. We also have people that have bought a plane that somebody else built. And when you do that, you can't inspect it. You can't do your annual. You have to go to an ANP. A lot of people go back to the original builder, which could be a lot of work to do. And the change in Mosaic that is very advantageous was extending the light sport repairman inspection rating to include EAB, amateur built planes. So if Ben built a plane and Mark bought it, this is the Ben plane from the Ben manufacturing company, basically. And Mark has no part of it. He happens to own it, and he has no real authority behind it. And they said very late with the LSRI, they said, well, if you can inspect a semi-certified plane, why wouldn't we let you do that to an experimental, which is further down on the safety continuum? Yeah. So that was the experimental community, EAA, and that world has been thrilled by that. The ones that have realized it, I think at this point, a lot haven't realized how big of a deal that is yet.
So two things real quick. One, can you imagine the 2008 Honda Accord that you sold 14 years ago?
Yeah.
You know, that you've got to, it's like, this guy keeps calling me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that part of it. I just think it's funny.
Ben would be like, Mark, I like you, but it's enough. That's enough.
I'm repossessing my airplane.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then, and the other thing is, real quick, and there's so much to get into. And I don't want to derail this conversation too much, but you've brought up a couple times in the last few episodes, for our Mosaic conversations, the term safety continuum, Ted. And I want people to be very clear on what that is, because it's essentially just a hierarchical rubric for threat analysis, I guess,
Yeah, FAA has been using that for a little while, but it's become kind of in focus, not just because of Mosaic, but just in kind of the modern FAA world. They've been discussing things more in those terms lately. And what it means is, if you're flying 150 people in a plane, safety is incredibly important. If you're flying just yourself in a plane you built, it's not as important. It's still important, but it's a 1-0 less that we're concerned about. Sorry, I'm thinking 5
order of magnitude,
6 9s. Thank you. Order of magnitude.
Yeah, just don't be a solo pilot that hits a bus full of 150 people. Is what
I was about to say. It's just the people on the ground they're worried about.
So yeah, I mean, safety is still important, but think about the difference between your Piper and a Boeing. Think about the difference between your Piper and my Egg, which is one step down on that list. They like that term, and so think about that term, safety continuum, and what it means, and you'll start seeing FAA using it in a lot of places. I'll link to Kennard Boulevard's video. It was called Mosaic, the huge gift that FAA for experimental owners that nobody's talking about. And he's talking about this exact thing. And yeah, so it's a good one. And by the way, this LSRI is a 16-hour course. So you can get it done on a rough weekend, on a hard weekend, and you now have inspection authority. So it's not like being an A&P where you need 1,500 hours of work, or whatever the hours are, working as an apprentice. This is something that's attainable.
Who is conducting these courses?
Rainbow Aviation in rural Kansas does it. And I think there's a second company somewhere in the South. Well, it's either in the South or in Florida. I don't know which, that does it. But I expect there's going to be a lot more of those. And I expect, especially with that 16-hour course, that a bunch of EAA groups are going to get somebody like Rainbow Aviation to come to them, offer a seminar. They have 20 people that do it at home for the weekend, and everybody's certified, rather than 20 people going to rural Kansas to try and get it.
Our local EAA chapter has actually got that scheduled, and I'm
fantastic.
going in November. There's Rainbow is coming to a airport around here, and there are at least 15 of us who are going to go take that weekend course.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not plane specific, right? Like,
correct.
You now can, you could inspect mine. You can do an annual on mine at that point. Yeah.
Correct. Is it similar to
believe it or not?
Is it similar to becoming a Mooney in the 1970s?
Not the plane. That took me a minute there.
Yeah, me too.
I still don't get it.
We all get in a stadium and we all marry the dude.
Yeah.
It is. Like,
it's just one. It's just one very intense weekend, and then you too can sell roses on the street corner.
But so this is really going to spawn a whole nother industry, basically.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's fantastic for experimental owners. This is for EABs. This is great. So
can we point this back at the sort of buy versus build? And so what you're kind of getting at is that previously there's been this kind of farcical 51% builder assist type of thing and all this. If you're going to build a plane from a kit, that's a long craftsmanship commitment time for you. If you want to actually keep up your proficiency as a pilot, you need to have another plane or access to planes that you can fly, because you're not flying this thing that you're building. You're going to be doing this for a long time. It reminds me of the movie Ghost Dog, where there's a scene where they're up on top of this building in New York City and they're looking over at this other building, and there's this guy building a boat on top of an apartment building in New York City. And they're just looking at it like, how is he going to get that thing down from there? You know, that's sort of the poetic nature of the thing. But ultimately, that's how I view it. If you're taking on building a plane, man, you're on the long road. And so I would imagine for a lot of this, Mark, for you, it just really opens up the idea of getting aircraft that you can either participate in or not participate in. But either way, you can get things that are classified in a way that are not. The odds of you going this path versus a certified aircraft are wildly different.
Yeah. So I am actually thinking about building an airplane, and I'm not sure. I've got a number of airplanes that are potential, but one thing I know for certain is whichever airplane I build is going to be builder assist, because I don't feel confident enough to build completely from a kit. Although I actually met a guy in North Carolina and went over and took a look at his sling that he built completely from a kit. And he spent the last 4 years building it, and it is just recently passed his testing, his post phase 1 testing is what they call it.
Yeah.
But I don't feel confident enough to do that. The reason that I want to build, though, as opposed to buy an LSA, is because I want to understand the airplane inside out. I want to know this is how this airplane was put together before I start tinkering with it, right? I don't know that I think that the 16-hour course is going to give me all of the confidence I have to like pull apart the airplane. I do feel pretty good about my mechanical ability. I am not scared of doing this, but I would very much like to have seen it put together in the first place with somebody knowing, oh, we've done this several times. We know exactly how to put this airplane together, and we'll help you. Now that doesn't mean that this may not, whichever airplane I choose may not be my forever airplane. The next airplane may be something I build from a flat kit. I don't know.
So do you think, my question is do you think you'll do a builder assist at this point?
I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a build assist. It's just a question. The only question that is left is there are some that are in the lead, and I'm being kind of coy and not saying which ones they are, but I don't know yet. It's all about trade-offs, right? And I'm trying to figure out what set of trade-offs I'm going to live with for now.
So you're not gonna share with anybody what you're leaning towards at this point.
Shared with Ted. I will say that Ted and I, pretty much, I run a bunch of stuff by Ted before I.
Okay, so this is great. So we're on a podcast with all of us together, and you guys are just sitting and talking about how you have your own little secret network of insights that you're not willing to share with everybody else. Well, that's super great. What other podcasts are you guys going to go on?
Okay, so
Brian, maybe you and I will create our own little network.
Yeah, let's make our own thing where it's like, yeah, man. Well, so let's see what else.
Okay. I will list off the 4 airplanes that I have in contention. There's one called an Ang Patriot. There's the Sling
Risen.
TSI, a TL Sparker, and a Porto Risen. Those are the 4 that I'm thinking about.
Now, the Risen was the one we saw in Texas that looks very flat. And it was a retract that's obviously an LSA with a V-tail, and it's crazy fast, crazy efficient. So when they flew across the Atlantic in like 45 gallons of gas at 180 knots or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
At a glance, just you going through those, it just sounded like you were at a store asking for vape flavors or something. It's like, what are these things? Like, what? Anyway.
Well, you probably recognize Sling TSI though, right?
Which one's more fruity?
He's referring to the vapes.
I couldn't figure it out either.
In past discussions, Mark, though, you've kind of, this is not a debate on high wing versus low wing, but you said there is a point in time when the entry and exit of an airplane is markedly easier in a high wing. Excuse the play on words. I mean, are you still thinking low wing or high wing, or have we not reached that point?
Oh no, he's cutting out.
He's cutting out.
The purpose of going to Oshkosh, he was saying, was to go
sit in the planes and to have his wife sit in the planes.
Yeah.
And because, you're back.
You're back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you went to Osh and you sat in the planes and you had your wife go and sit in the planes and you have,
he's gone.
And you have different priorities between the two of you. And some of those, a 2-seater is fine, but it also doesn't have as much space. But they tend to be a little faster and a little more elegant. So 2 and 4 seats is up for grabs. But the useful load is important because that's the thing about a Risen is, it goes fast, but you can't put anything in it. So those are all factors that come into play with that.
Well, it looks like Mark is in and out, so we're just gonna have to somehow survive.
Yeah.
I look forward to editing this very much.
No, but I do think it does give it and I'd love to hear back from our audience. We've been talking about Mosaic for a little bit, and I think we're now really kind of finding a good level of how much is actually changing. So if you're thinking about building or builder assist or whatever the case may be, let us hear from you and let us know what your thought process is. Let's let's hear from you.
Let's pop up what Ugly Cub said, because that's a great example.
Yep.
Mark, you want to read this? Or Brian, you want to read this?
Ugly Cub says, I did the Cub Crafters Builder Assist program and can tell you that I don't know much more about my plane than I would have if I had simply studied my documents.
I think everybody's going to be a little bit different, but what I will say is I watched, there's a young couple that just built a Bearhawk. You could easily tell that they took a deep dive in it for the same reason that Mark wants to build or do a builder assist with his. And, they know their systems. And what I found interesting is they did a lot of the wiring for their panel themselves. They built their own harnesses. And he made the comment, this is Aaron and Paul are the YouTubers. And he's like, if something goes wrong with my avionics, I feel like I can get to the source of the problem very, very quickly myself. So again, everybody's going to be different. I'm not disagreeing what Ugly Club is saying, but everybody's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
So Ben, I don't know if during all of that disconnection drama, if your question actually got answered, but regarding the high wing, low wing thing, I brought my wife to Oshkosh specifically to sit in airplanes, and she felt more comfortable actually getting into the low wings than getting into the high wings. It was easier for her. There was something that was simpler. And the high wings that we tried were very high off the ground. They weren't like a Cessna 172 where it was just, stepping in. It was they were pretty high off the ground, and it was actually harder work for her to get into a high wing than it was to get into a low wing. So that sort of steered the direction of where we were going.
And I know that speed is important to you, but that's not everything either.
It is not everything. So the trade-off between being able to carry, passengers and have space, because I want to use this as a travel machine. I want to be able to use it as a way to get around, and that means I need to have useful load. So the balance between useful load and speed is I really, if in my dream of dreams, it would be that, 200 knot Porto Risen getting TED fuel mileage, right? TED gallons per hour. That would be awesome. But it just doesn't have it, it means removing the ability to take stuff with me. Right. So it's all a bunch of trade-offs in that regard, which one I'm going to build. But I will say that the main reason that I'm trying to build is because I want to have intimate knowledge of the airplane. I'm confused by Ugly Cub's comment about not knowing his plane as much. I've got to say that's a Cub Crafters thing, because the build assist is much more assist than build. So it might be a different story. Well, and part of it for us is like, one of the things that my wife keeps reminding me is like, so some of the ones that I'm going and looking at, they're like, we want you to come work on this airplane for 3 weeks. And it's a maximum of 3 weeks. Otherwise, you just get in the way, right? And that is not what I want. I want to be able to be there as much as possible, and for them to welcome me being there as much as I can be, so that I can, because I really want to know the airplane from the inside.
I think it's that balance between, do you want to spend 7 years on it, or do you just want to spend a week and a half?
Right.
With pencil whipping. Now, I texted you a picture the other day. My ground speed was 105. I had a nice tailwind, so I throttled way back, and I did this for like an hour. So this wasn't just a moment, but Ben, you'll appreciate this. I was burning 2.3 an hour, again, doing 105 across the ground, 45 nautical miles a gallon. So, again, because of the tailwind, I actually pulled out flaps because I just needed to stay in the air and go as slow as I could and let the wind push me. But it's stupid. That's not standard.
Let's provide some additional perspective. Yeah. We've talked about the Beast, but the Duchess?
Oh, it's double beast.
22 aside.
Wow.
Yikes. And by the way, I know I made the comment about low wings and being able to see the runway on base. Mm-hmm. Here's what I don't like. There's 8 fuel sumps.
Yeah.
Well, and I have to get on my back. I mean, I need one of those little racer board back things that they have in auto shops. So, it's a great discussion. And, Mark, we look forward to hearing more about the decision when that time comes, and I'm sure that it will.
By the way, Michael Gillette had commented that it's been fascinating to watch Aviation 101 Josh do the TSI build assist. And what did he say? I feel like I understand the process much better, good and bad. I highly recommend that series that he's doing. It really is such a great look into that process. And I've definitely learned a lot from watching that. I'm going to see if I really want to get Chelsea's perspective on all of this, because while, obviously Josh is great and, getting his perspective, and he's very involved. He's a total electronics nerd, and wiring nerd and is deeply involved in the build, there's something about I'm just very interested to talk to Chelsea from a A&P perspective specifically. So we'll do some reaching out and see if we can't arrange that, because I think that they'd be willing. And there's a lot of stuff going on with their build right now that's going to be it's happening. You know what I mean? Like this thing is it's going to be. I think that Sling has done a great job of just showcasing how just familial and helpful and what an experience that they've been having is beyond what I think a lot of people would envision. It's
a really cool facility there. I know that before we wrap, I know that Mark had talked about getting his A&P because he's been frustrated about not being able to work on his own plane.
Yep.
And the absurd lengths that you have to go to be able to.
I was actually
changes.
Yeah, I was actually seriously considering going and trying to get my A&P. And then it seemed like, you know what? It's probably easier to build an airplane than to get the A&P. So
I've started logging my maintenance hours because at least that becomes an option if you've logged how much time you've been spending on that. But
that's very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we want to thank everybody in the chat. It's been very active, and we appreciate you joining us. And if you're still listening to us on the audio version, you can watch us live on YouTube at youtube.com/@midlifepilotpodcast. Leave us a 5-star review. We would love to hear from you. And anything else, gentlemen, for the good of the order? I'm going to take that as a no. That silence is a no.
Yeah.
Going a little bit to the more philosophical side on our little wit and wisdom. Don't, and this applies to Brian and his studying for IFR, maybe Mark, when you start your program with the EAA, it's don't let schooling interfere with your education. Signing off, episode 144 of the Midlife Pilot Podcast. Goodbye, everybody.